Hello, good evening and welcome to Primetime News. I'm Nadim Majid. Let's start with a look at tonight's headlines.
Railway fares to be increased by 15% from the 1st of October. Secretary to the Ministry of Power and Renewable Energy misleads the National Economic Council. Residents of Narakala facing issues due to the fly ash of the Norochole power plant. Asian Games begin in Jakarta. Swimming champion Matthew Abe Singha sets new Sri Lankan record.
On to our top story tonight. The Ministry of Transport has announced a 15% hike in railway fares effective from the 1st of October. Ministry Secretary G.S. Vithanage said the Gazette notification with the fare revision will be issued in the near future.
Adding that the new fares would come into effect once they are authorized by the ministry. Incidentally, the fare hike will not affect the current minimum fare, which is 10 rupees. However, the Railways Department noted that the distance commuters can travel with a minimum price ticket will be reduced from 10 kilometers to 7 kilometers. The price for reserved seats is also set to increase. A 5-member committee headed by the General Manager of the Railways Department was appointed recently to consider a revision of railway ticket prices. A proposal was put forward by the committee to amend the railway fares, taking into consideration the cost of fuel, bus fares and the losses incurred by Sri Lanka Railways. When the committee's initial proposal had been to increase the ticket prices by more than 15% proposed in the budget, the committee later acquiesced to the 15% fare hike. According to Sri Lanka Railways, in the absence of a fare hike over the past 10 years, the department incurred a loss of 6.7 billion rupees in 2017 alone. The department also incurred losses amounting to 64 million rupees recently due to the 4-day-long strike launched by several unions. Following the appointment of the new government, the prices of several essential goods and services have been increased. In May, bus fares were increased by 12.5%. The introduction of a fuel pricing formula has resulted in periodic increases in fuel prices. The fare charged by 3-wheelers had also increased, while the fare for the first kilometer has been increased by 10 rupees. Prices of lunch packets have increased by 25%. It appears that the government is now preparing to reduce the prices of some goods and services on the cusp of an election. It is necessary that the public identify this political ploy, which has been utilized by successive governments. Here are a few examples. The presidential election of 2015 was held in January. On the 14th of December 2014, the prices of petrol, diesel and kerosene oil were reduced. On the 6th of December 2014, the prices of domestic gas cylinders were reduced. A parliamentary election was held on the 17th of August 2015. The prices of a domestic gas cylinder were reduced on the 15th of July, just over a month prior to the election.
Newsfirst has constantly highlighted the fact that fly ash released from the Lakvijaya coal power plant in Norochole has had a massive impact on the surrounding environment. Today we made inquiries from the Environmental Authority of the Northwestern Province, and the authority said that although a number of attempts have been made to control the situation, more time is needed to come up with a viable solution.
The impact fly ash has had on the environment can be seen in Narakkalya, Manpuriya and Ilamthadiya areas in the Puttalam district. Drinking water, property and the entire surrounding environment has been covered with ash.
අපි බලාගාරෙන් කිලෝමීටරයක් විතර දුරින් තමයි ඉන්නේ. ඒත් මේ ගල් අඟුරු කුඩු ගොඩක් මෙහෙට එනවා. අපේ ගෙවල් වල හිටන් තියෙනවා.
In the hope of controlling the spread of fly ash in the area, the Electricity Board intervened and took steps to install a wind barrier and a water sprinkler system. The foundation stone for the construction of this wind barrier at 1,200 meters in length and 15 meters in height was laid on the 22nd of last month. The cost of the project, due to be completed in 2 years, is 750 million rupees. Due to the failure to obtain an environmental feasibility report and follow proper procedure, the project does not seem to have commenced.
The Moroto University has said that the wind barrier must be constructed at a height of 30 meters. The minister came and laid the foundation stone and left. The mountain of coal has reached a height of 15 meters. What's the point in constructing a wind barrier that's 15 meters tall? It's a waste of government money.
Even though Newsfirst reported on this matter on several occasions, those reports fell on deaf ears. Now the general public in the area are facing hardships as a result. Who should be held accountable for carrying out projects that cost millions of rupees without yielding any results? The subject minister, the secretary to the ministry, nor the engineering trade unions of the CEB will take the responsibility for these wasteful actions. At the end of the day, the general public are made to bear the costs of these profligate activities. For your attention.
Not sure if it's ironic or tragic that the ministry in charge of the power and energy sector is called the Ministry of Power and Renewable Energy. Incidentally, the power and energy sector is also the focus of our investigative journalism segment, Action TV Tonight.
The National Economic Council, which was appointed on the orders of the President and convened for the first time on the 12th of September last year, is an entity with a clearly defined purpose and responsibility. It is the Council's responsibility to make decisions that are necessary to strengthen the nation's economy. If there happens to be top-tier bureaucrats, such as ministry secretaries, who are unaware of the purpose of this council, or who, being aware of this purpose, continue to act in ignorance of it, then such individuals cannot be considered suitable to hold their current positions. On the 8th of August, through a letter addressed to the Secretary to the President, the Secretary of the Ministry of Power and Renewable Energy has made a disasterful attempt to use the National Economic Council to commit an illegal act. That the Ceylon Electricity Board's power purchase agreements with 3 private companies have expired. However, the date on which Dr. Bhattagoda writes this letter to the Secretary to the President marks exactly 4 months since the CEB signed a 3-year power purchase agreement with one of these 3 companies, which is Ace Power Ambilipitia. It is possible that Dr. Bhattagoda had sought to conceal this agreement from the Secretary to the President due to the illegal and roguish nature of this agreement. When this agreement was brought up by journalists during a media briefing held on Wednesday, the subject minister requested that the media exercise caution when reporting on the issue. Scrutiny of the letter addressed by the ministry secretary to the President reveals that what the minister may have meant by caution was in fact concealment, given that the ministry secretary claims in his letter that a situation has arisen where the CEB is forced to purchase emergency power from the private sector at a time when the CEB's generation planning unit, which should be drawing such conclusions, has not seen fit to do so. Several questions need to be asked. Has Dr. Bhattagoda portrayed this mythical demon of emergency power procurement because he wishes to whitewash this agreement that has been signed illegally? Is it because he wishes to pave the way for the signing of 2 more such agreements? Or is Dr. Bhattagoda acting with such haste because he is nearing retirement? Another such official who retired on the 16th of August, the Secretary to the Ministry of Rural Economic Affairs, saw fit to pay an advance to import 15,000 pregnant cows from Australia, in spite of the fact that the money had not been allocated by the budget, nor had a supplementary estimate been put to Parliament seeking the funds. Since the CEB Act itself details a procedure for the procurement of emergency power, which requires the authorization of the Public Utilities Commission of Sri Lanka, shouldn't the cancellation of this illegal agreement entered into by the CEB to purchase emergency power in violation of this procedure be a priority for the National Economic Council? Members of the National Economic Council, over to you.
Speaking of malpractice, the Sunday Times reported today that plans are afoot to arrest a former senior official at Sri Lankan Airlines who served during the tenure of the previous government. Trade unions at the airline say that both officials from the former and current regimes who are responsible for acts of fraud and corruption must be held accountable by the law.
The Sunday Times reported today that an investigation by the Financial Crimes Investigation Division into the one-time senior Sri Lankan Airlines official concerning the amassing of foreign currency to the tune of nearly 10 million rupees in a foreign bank account is nearing completion. The report claims that the top official concerned had favoured a single party in several business transactions and that for the help he extended, the parties involved had rewarded him with liberal foreign currency handouts. Quoting sources aware of the transactions, the Sunday Times reported that the official concerned is to be taken into custody and produced in courts. The newspaper also reported that this investigation is independent of the probe the Commission of Inquiry is now conducting into alleged malpractices at Sri Lankan Airlines, Sri Lankan Catering and Mihin Lanka from the period extending from the 1st of January 2006 to the 31st of January 2018.
One of the main reasons for the previous government to be the subject of public displeasure is the manner in which the chairman of Sri Lankan Airlines acted. After the present government came into power, they promised to put a stop to all the irregularities and bring Sri Lankan Airlines back to a profitable state. Their friends were appointed to the board of directors of the airlines, and now their actions have come to the limelight. For the financial year, Sri Lankan Airlines has suffered a loss of 28 billion rupees. This was managed by the faction of the Prime Minister with Malik Samarawikrama. Charita Ratwatta, the Chief Executive Officer at the time, was a brother of an advisor to the Prime Minister. They too should be held responsible for this massive loss. Not only that, we also ask that the losses that they have caused through this be reimbursed at their personal expense. Now, a group who forcibly entered a restaurant in Andigama Anamaduwa yesterday had damaged property at the scene and subsequently fled.
This restaurant in Adigama was opened just a year ago. The owner said that a person had been forcibly purchasing food on credit from the restaurant for some time now. According to the owner, the attack was carried out by a group who came to the restaurant with this person. He bought food on credit and didn't pay me. When I asked him to pay, he left without paying. He caused damages of over 2.5 million rupees. He is known as Kasipunihal. A complaint was lodged at the Anamaduwa police. However, no suspects have been taken into custody as yet.
Land deeds were presented today to beneficiaries in Kegol under the auspices of Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe.
Around 1,364 beneficiaries were gifted land deeds during the event. Politicians including Ministers Gayantha Karunathilaka and Ranjit Siyebala and several public officials were present at the event.
This is a government where work is being done by people. This is not a government that beats the drums and then just goes home. There is no need for that. Look at what we have done. There's Gamperaliya, Grama Shakti and Enterprise Lanka. We're also planning on building new trade zones. It has only been 3 years since we took over this government. We first passed the 19th Amendment to the Constitution. The President is accountable to Parliament now, once every 3 months. The President's term was limited to 5 years. Ministers and Deputy Ministers are decided by the Prime Minister, and that is to strengthen the Parliament. The President doesn't have the right to dissolve the Parliament. We cannot choose the Chief Justice now. We passed the Right to Information Act. The provincial councils and local government elections were held in a critical time period. We had to settle economic debt.
JVP parliamentarian Sunil Handunetti spoke on the debt burden of the country at a meeting held in Gampaha yesterday.
Now they have constructed highways. That's good. There is nothing wrong in building the roads. But the road constructed is 172 kilometers long. The revenue from 2013 is 27 billion rupees. But now they are constructing one from Godagama, Mathara to Beliatta. It is 96 kilometers long. We got hold of the feasibility study on the estimations yesterday. The feasibility study was done during Mahinda Rajapaksa's time, and it says the revenue of this highway will be minus 1,171 million US dollars. This will bring losses to the country if this is built. How much was it? Close to 1,200 million US dollars. But this was swept under the carpet and the highway was constructed. Loans are obtained from China Exim Bank. Do you know how the estimations were made? It said during the years 2015, 16 and 17, this will generate a revenue of 683 billion rupees. But not a single ticket was issued during the last 5 years. They have not even constructed the highway yet, but we have already estimated an income of 683 billion rupees. But the losses that might incur is calculated as minus $1,270 million. When you added the income that has not yet been earned, you will have to deduct that 683 billion rupees. The revenue of the recently constructed expressway is 27 billion rupees. Who estimated that an additional income could be earned by issuing tickets for 4 to 5 years? The Central Expressway is also the same. The water projects implemented with the funds raised from China and India are also the same. They exaggerate the estimations and determine the debt. Do you know why? Although there is an interest rate of 2%, Sri Lanka has to pay a commitment fee when we obtain loans from foreign banks. People of this country know the list of things we can do in a school with 100,000 rupees. How many classrooms can be built? How many desks and chairs can we purchase? There are so many playgrounds that need to be built. There are so many dispensaries with no medicine. There are principals who come to us asking for 25,000 rupees from the decentralized fund. Nobody pays attention to these things. Successive governments, including the current government, have failed to address the most pressing problems facing the general public. One must wonder why no attention is paid to these problems, no matter how many times they are highlighted by the media, including News First. Who stole the people's money instead of spending it on the people? Even a child in Sri Lanka, while perhaps unable to understand the nuances of how it was accomplished, are aware that the central bank bond scam was the single largest incident of financial fraud in the history of the country. Experts on the subject have pointed out consistently that the losses, actual and potential, caused by the 2015 bond scam run into the hundreds of billions of rupees. It is no secret that the second bond scam of 2016 caused massive losses too. The losses caused under the guise of building expressways is unimaginable. The sad truth is that many of these desperate needs of the people could have been addressed had these daylight robberies not taken place. Who is responsible for the theft of the mountain of wealth that has left our nation in tatters? Couldn't these funds have been used to upgrade village schools, which are in a total mess? Couldn't these funds have been used to provide clean drinking water to most of our people desperate for clean water? Trains. Couldn't these funds have been used to find a solution to the human-elephant conflict that wages on, claiming both human and elephant lives? As all of these issues continue to deteriorate, who is behind protecting the former central bank governor, who is a Singaporean national, the man wanted in connection to the heist of the central bank treasury bonds? Who is responsible for turning us all and our children into eternal debtors by their callous and corrupt ravaging of public funds? As we all know, elections are now around the corner again, and suddenly these politicians have remembered the people and the village. They have no plan. The country is under a mountain of debt, and therefore they have no funds. But they gallantly march into the villages, promising jobs and development, lying through their teeth. In stark contrast, the Gammadhar initiative has been living and breathing in Sri Lankan villages for nearly a decade, and began its work with 2 solid studies led by the University of Peradeniya. The 2 research reports were presented to the government to no avail. It was only after this that we called on the general public to help, and the general public answered that call. Backed by meticulously collected and collated research data and the incredibly generous public support, Gammadda today has succeeded in resolving problems across Sri Lanka. Gammadda is by the people and for the people and has won the trust of Sri Lankans everywhere. Let us remind politicians that lying to the people is nothing but a sin, and the curses of the people that they deceive will be upon them.
A canal flowing adjacent to U.E. Pereira Mawatha and Arunodaya Mawatha in Rajagiriya has been blocked due to illegal construction in the area.
The houses that have been built on the canal have been put up several years ago. There are several environmental issues that have cropped up as a result. The employees of the municipal council refuse to clean the canal as a result of the illegal houses on it.
The people from the municipal council come here and look around. They bring their tools and they say they cannot clean this because there is a wall. I have to clean all the drains when I have a free time.
There are houses which have housing deeds and there are houses which do not.
We are living in a house like this because we are poor. If we are not poor, we won't be here. There are illegal settlements all around Colombo. It is the same in Kotte. In some areas, the number of people living in 1 square kilometer of land have tripled. The houses can be destroyed and the people can be removed, but we are responsible to grant those people a place to live. Since all of these houses are located near the canal, all the toilet waste is diverted into the canal. We have identified 37 families that live beside the canal and allocated houses for them in the Dematagod area. When the houses are built, we will allocate houses for them and settle them there. That is what we hope to do. Like the fingers are pointed at the municipal council, the people have to support us. The people dump garbage onto the canal. We request the people to stop disposing and dumping garbage into the canal.
On the weather front now, the Department of Meteorology says that wind speeds could increase in several parts of the country. The department requests the fishing community to exercise caution. Up next is the weather forecast.
Very good evening to all of viewers. You're joining me Aparna Fernand on Weather First. Let's take a look at the weather forecast for upcoming days. Gusty winds can be expected in northwestern, western, southern and southeast sea areas. Even the wind speed can increase in central, Sabaragamu, western and southern provinces. Considering tomorrow, showers can be expected in the southwest part of the country. And also, even day after tomorrow and on 22nd, showers can be expected in Puttalam, Colombo, Galle, Ratnapura and Kandy. Focusing on 23rd, heavy showers can be expected in northwestern and eastern provinces. Now let's take a look at the weather forecast for Colombo.
The 108th village constructed under the Samata Sevana Yali Pibidena Udagammana project was declared open today. The event was attended by the Deputy Leader of the United National Party and Minister of Housing and Construction, Sajith Premadasa.
The village named Saman Malgama was constructed at a cost of 21.3 million rupees. The village consists of 26 houses.
And that's a wrap of Primetime News. Don't forget to visit our website www.newsfirst.lk to keep abreast of the latest stories, including, as you may have found out if you were subscribed to Newsfirst SMS alerts, that 6.9 magnitude earthquake in Lombok a short while ago. I'm Nadim Majid. Good night and good luck.